September 2020, I was in the hospital with COVID, and I actually passed away from COVID, and then I came back, and
Oh my
yeah.
Yo.
What up? What up? Hey, co-workers.
What's up, co-workers?
Welcome back to this week's episode of the We Outside After Work podcast. I'm your host, Dana.
And I'm your boy, Aaron. And we got a special guest in the building representing Team Urbane. We got a hip-hop aficionado, a wonderful wordsmith, an artist that we all need to get to know, Mr. Chris Siders. Everybody give a round of applause.
Yes, we got Chris from the West Coast joining us today.
Where he got that 49ers in the background.
Oh, L.A.,
Yeah,
man. Hey, this my my pops. He's a huge 49ers fan.
Okay.
He converted part of the house into like a 49ers den. He didn't get to see all of this because he passed away Valentine's Day earlier. Yeah.
Oh, sorry for your loss. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, we good. We moving. He's with me every day. His ashes is in this.
Love that. Yeah, I'm sure he's really proud of you and all the great things that you're doing and, making things happen for yourself. So kudos to you. We are going to get started with our icebreaker game. Our coworkers know we do like to play a little card game just to get the conversation going. So I'm going to read the first card, and then Chris, if you would like to give us your response, that'd be great.
Okay.
So the card says, we're also doing Spill It. Shout out to our girls at Spill It. Hey. Okay. It says, if you could trade places with anyone for 24 hours, dead or alive at any point in time, who would it be?
Ooh. Damn. One of my favorite rappers is Lupe Fiasco. And I just always wanted to know how he goes about life, what his perception of the world is just as a human being and not as a rapper, like studying his works. So I kind of always he kind of always been like a mystery because he's not a rapper that really flaunts anything and he's just about his shit. He's just about his business. So yeah. Lupe.
Right. He's super talented. Okay.
Yeah, Lupe and Tupac. Studying his works with Me Against the World and All Eyes on Me and just seeing how he always talked about like his chaotic surroundings. So like just be put in those shoes and like, just trying to figure out like how would I move about the world in that kind of environment, and just I don't know, just thinking about that. Yeah. Damn, y'all put me in the hot seat for real.
You came in hot.
But that's definitely dope. We definitely love the little West Coast that you just tried to slip in there. I'm not going to pick Biggie though.
Here we go.
I'm not going to pick Biggie. If I could pick somebody alive, I'm picking Elon Musk. I'm a real cerebral kind of person. I'm gonna go in, get that bank account, transfer them funds, right?
Who, yourself?
Hell yeah, I'm coming back. So I'm gonna transfer them funds. But I'm gonna put it in my mama name so they can't find it. You feel me? Like I'm not gonna put it in my name because I don't want no money.
That's really smart. I like that. Yeah.
And then I'm also gonna do some things on Twitter. Get it back to Twitter, kill that X stuff. And then I'm gonna block all them girls that's talking that trash on me today. I'm not feeling them on Twitter right now. And if I could pick somebody that's no longer with us, that's a tough one.
So we're doing two. We just had.
We don't have to do two, but. Chris got me thinking. I don't know. I'll go with Jesus. I'll pick Jesus. I think I said that before. I'll pick Jesus. Come back, make the world shake a little bit, and then go back to where I've been. Let them know to still believe. You feel me?
All right. That's very interesting. A very out of the box pick. Okay. So for me, mine is a little crazy. So I would pick Tom from MySpace. Only because when I think back to that time, it had so much potential to be way more than just a moment in time. So I feel like I would go back and be him in like 2007, 2008, and just keep up with the time so that Instagram and Meta and Facebook don't take over everything. And I'd probably be a billionaire as well. So I'd be Time from MySpace. And then somebody who is dead, since y'all both did dead people. I should pick a girl, right? Because I feel like
Harriet Tubman.
No.
What?
God rest her soul, and we respect her, but no.
Yeah.
I would pick somebody dead. This is a hard one. The person who came to mind was actually Michael Jackson, even though clearly he's not a woman. But I feel like he was such a innovator in the music industry, and his creativity literally still lives on past when he passed away. So I would want to, not with the allegations, but just to see what that felt like musically, and to have that kind of like praise and love for you from your fans based off your creativity. I would just want to know what that felt like.
Shout out to Michael. He the king.
Ooh.
You know, we love
him. I got a question for y'all. Michael Jackson.
What's that?
Prince?
Oh, Michael Jackson. Easy. Next.
I'm picking Prince.
Yeah, right.
I'm so serious. Between the two, I'm picking Prince because, and I had this conversation with someone else recently, and we talked about like the differences between MJ and Prince. And I do feel like Prince was like not a real, but like he did everything. Like he played instruments, he sang, he could dress, he was into fashion. And Michael Jackson, like, he just didn't have the instrument piece for me. As far as I
believe Michael Jackson can play instruments. I can't validate that from a fact. But think of it this way, right? If I'm the greatest at doing what I do, I don't need to be great at anything else. I am the pinnacle.
He was great at what he did. But with Prince, he just had like he was multifaceted to me.
I don't need multifaceted to be great.
And that's for you. You picking MJ, I'm picking Prince. And we'll agree to disagree.
Mm-hmm. She bugging. Chris, who you picking?
I'm picking Prince.
Oh my fucking
2-1. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, but my vote is so heavy that I'm the 2, y'all the 1.
No.
Prince. And then when you said Elon Musk, I was like, so you gonna revive Twitter because like X ain't doing it.
Man, let me change it up a little bit because y'all. Anywho,
hey, I'm just being real.
I get you. All right. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go around the group. I want y'all to tell me the 2 best and the 2 worst astrological signs that you've dated.
Oh shit!
We dated. Yep. Let me go first.
Go ahead.
Because like I already know off the top of my head. So the worst zodiac sign that I've ever dated, I've dated 2 of these types of men, and it is Pisces men. So March Pisces men, even though I'm a March Pisces woman, but the men for me, they were just so similar that they both matched each other's like toxicity. And when I say toxicity, it was to a point where like they didn't like notice they were toxic. Like it was very passive aggressive to the point where they would make you feel bad that they did something and you want to basically console them and make them feel better even though they were in the wrong. So that was the worst. The best, and I feel like I'm always like drawn to these types, are Leos. I really like Leos.
They're like fun. Leonardo or Leonard?
No, Leos, like the zodiac sign Leo. Yeah.
Chris, how about you?
He said Leonardo or Leonard. That's crazy. Right. That's crazy. How do you deal with this man?
Right.
First MJ, come on, fam. I mean, shout out to MJ. You know, pretty young.
I actually don't like that song.
Yeah. You're in the corner now. So, but yeah, y'all about to get me in trouble because Scorpios. I can't do it.
Why? Like, what have they done to you?
Flip floppy, never know what the hell they want.
And it's
Um,
like,
and then you try to uh have a conversation with them about like just calling them in on something that they done that offended you, then it'll get the script will get flipped. So
Mm-hmm.
I experienced that quite a few times, and I'm just like, I'm done. So that and Gemini's, like,
oh, you don't like Geminis?
You don't
I
like
don't,
flip flops.
I don't like flip
The
flops. Like,
Geminis are two-faced for sure, but I love them. I know some great ones, but they're yeah.
yeah. So Scorpios, Gemini's, honorable mention to Aries. Aries a little wild. I'm a Libra. Like we just chill.
So
Happy belated. Happy
what's the
belated.
best one?
What's the
What's the
what?
best one? The best zodiac sign that you dated?
Honestly, because I'm in a relationship right now.
Take that one.
And- yeah,
You have to. Yeah, you have to.
I actually met her on tour in Zurich.
Mm.
She's a Leo,
Switzerland, right?
Switzerland. Yeah, so I got a girl international, halfway around the world, and she's nice.
Okay.
She's great. Love you, Tina.
What's the zodiac sign?
Leo.
Leo. Okay. See, I love Leos.
Exactly. Y'all both love Leos. For me, the worst is definitely Aries. Like, let's just get that out the way. Aries,
Aries.
yeah,
Okay.
Aries is trash.
Okay, we agree on something.
Capricorns. And Capricorns aren't bad people, but they are very vindictive, very manipulative. You know,
Oof.
they do things their way, and they're very much like male Sagittarius. So I can't get mad at them, but can't bang with that. The best, obviously, Sagittarius women. The best is Sagittarius women. They're just awesome people, wonderful
You know,
people.
I love Sagittarius women, like
Um,
Sagittarius.
and then Pisces women, not you. You a Pisces,
Well,
right?
we have a partnership on the podcast, so clearly we have that connection to where
Well,
you
I honestly have
mesh.
great
Okay,
relationships and
don't try to
close
play me.
bonds with Pisces women. Pisces women are really, really good people. So,
Aaron,
not
you
all
just
of
getting cool, bro.
them.
You
That's
just
what I deal with on a regular.
Yeah.
But enough about me and my crazy shenanigans, Chris. We want to get into you. We want to know, who are you as just an individual and as a musician and as an artist.
Mhm.
So, I
Yeah,
want you
give
to,
us your background with
yeah.
like music, what kind of genre, or do you feel like you place yourself in a genre? Why or why not? And what kind of music do you make?
okay. So I mainly make hip hop, rap, soul, but as of lately, I definitely been experimenting with an array of different genres. I kind of feel that in today's climate, like people say like rap is boring and like there's nothing exciting about it. And I kind of feel part of the reason of that is the sonics. We
Mhm.
stay with the trap beats. We stay with things that like we just don't experiment anymore. So
Mm.
with my future projects, I got a little bit of rock, I got a little bit of synth pop, I got pop punk, and then I got like soul mixed with just a ton of different things. I have my own choir called the Fire Choir, and like I perform with them. Like it's a 3-piece choir with a full band, and we just create something innovative to get people more engaged with the music. With like the messages like in the music, because for me, as I said earlier, like I study Lupe Fiasco.
Mhm.
Kendrick Lamar is one of my other favorite rappers.
Mhm.
And Kanye, like conceptually and musically, he's like a fantastic artist.
Mhm.
Um, so how they structure their albums and how things just flow into each other, that's what I aim to create. Um, And yeah, for example, I released a project earlier this year called The Emancipation of Chris Siders. And that is about spirituality, grief, the loss of my dad, and meditation and holistic medicine. And throughout the project, you'll hear my friend Nee, shout out Nee Dang, she's a Reiki practitioner, and she's guiding the listener on breathing exercises from song to song.
Wow,
And
that's dope.
yeah, and then you get these little tidbits about my life and trying to tell myself it's okay. And then right after the song It's Okay, it's actually called It's Okay, at the end of it, you'll hear her say, integrate that monster. And then it goes into this song where I'm just talking crazy about violence and all the built up tension and anger within inside me, losing my dad, losing my brother, breakups, all these different things that I have not resolved. And the main message with that project is that as Black people, we need to learn how to grieve. We do not know how to grieve like that because who is teaching us emotional intelligence in our education system? You know,
Right. Nobody.
and
Nobody.
and you know, our parents, the generation before us, they haven't been well equipped. They only made do with what they had because there's those resources wasn't really available. Those conversations weren't happening, and yeah, so that's what I aim to do with my music is to bring up an array of different conversations about being human and honoring ourselves as humans in all
Okay.
different ways.
No, I don't mean to interject. I don't mean to
Oh, go
interject.
ahead. I had a question too. I'll let you go, Aaron.
But I know you're not a Michael Jackson fan, but you actually remind me a lot. No, seriously, you remind me a lot of a story that I just heard about Rick James and Michael Jackson. How Michael Jackson was really upset that he didn't win the Grammy before he made Thriller. I think it was for the Ben album. And Rick James was like, you just gotta give him something different. You just gotta give him something from you. And you remind me of that so much because it's like everybody can do the same shit, right? Anybody, if you want to, you can be a rapper. When I was younger, I used to write rhymes. And I used to try to be a rapper, but deep down, I'm like, yeah, that ain't for me, right? Anybody can be a rapper, but everybody can't be an artist, and that's what separates you and your imagination, your feel. Like that's an important aspect, and the people, especially younger people who want to get into music and stuff like that, they need to get that story versus the money story. Because yeah, the money comes, Sexy Red can happen to anybody. But how can you turn into J. Cole? Like, how can you make something that you want to make and continue to make that shit throughout? And it's not a knock on Sexy Red, but it's like, we don't want popcorn music and we don't want popcorn artists.
Right. And just to add to that, I think those were all great points, Aaron. Chris, I do want to get back to your EP, which is called Unapologetically Chris Siders. How do you know when you're creating a song? How do you know, like, this is a specific song that I want to release to the public? Or this song is something I want to keep in a vault to myself? Like, is there some type of deliberation process you go through? Like, what does that look like?
For me, I like to be the most brutally honest artist as I possibly can. And because, again, the conversation of vulnerability. And so if it hits a nerve, that's how I know, like, oh, that needs to be released. And when it comes to Unapologetically Chris Siders, I never touched on the topic of ego. That's what the whole that short EP is about. My ego. I'm talking my shit. Hey, I went international. I'm just a local artist, and also at the same time, it's saying that like you can do it too. Like, who says that you can't do anything that you want to do? I never imagined myself a rapper 5 years ago. I was part of a music group since 2009. I never rapped. I was doing spoken word. I was behind the scenes doing management and DJing a little here and there. I've written like my first like verse like kind of seriously in 2018, but when the group broke up in August 2021, that's when I was like, like I'm believing in myself more. I could do this. And then I went on my first tour and I doing back-to-back tours. And then now I went international for the very first time in my life. I've never been outside the country. Rap took me outside of the country.
Did you open up for somebody, or was this just your own tour?
I opened up for Westside Boogie.
Okay.
Yeah, he signed to Eminem, Interscope Records, and Laverne with Summer Walker. And he has some writing credits on Mr. Morale, Kendrick's album.
Okay. And how did you guys connect? Like, how did he get your music? Did he like instantly like what he heard and then was like, oh, you got to come with me on tour. I want you to open up for me. Like, how did that relationship start?
So I did a total of 3 shows, but I only opened up for him on 1 show. And how that actually happened, it was the promoter that got me on that show. I didn't meet Westside until Soundcheck, and he's a really nice guy. We talked, kicked it, and he actually brought me back out on stage and shouted me out in front of everybody. And just like a few days ago, like he messaged me saying like, hey, like if you're open to it, we could do a song. And so all blessings, right? So and yeah, so that's kind of how that happened. And I was supposed to be out in Zurich like 3 years earlier with my music group actually, but COVID happened and the world went to shit. The following year, no one didn't know what the world was going to look like, and I wasn't going to wait on anybody. Like I have dreams, I got goals that I want to accomplish, and I can't wait for anybody.
Now,
Chris, go ahead, Aaron.
Now I know you said that you was doing spoken word before you was jumping into rap. When did you start writing? When did that become a thing for you? Because I'm a writer too, so I started writing when I was 13. So was it like that for you, or was it more later in life?
For spoken word, it was in high school. Shout out my mentor, Mike the Poet. I was a bit of a knucklehead in high school. I got into a lot of trouble, and honestly, Mike Sonskin, Mike the Poet, he saved my life because I actually almost got expelled from high school for fighting. And I'm not the type to go and pick on people, but I will finish it. And so I landed into some trouble where the school system was like, hey, if you don't change your behavior, we're going to expel you and send you to juvenile hall. And in like the type of environment that I was in at that point in time, there was dead bodies found in cars outside of the school. The bank down the street got robbed every 2 weeks or so. And this is on the corner of Crenshaw and Slauson, west side of South Central, Crenshaw District, Nipsey Hussle's neighborhood, rest in peace. And it was real. It was real growing up. And it's so easy to get caught up in that violence, even if you're not directly in that circle, in the gang life. Just being around it can influence you to do horrendous things. So, so poetry, to answer your question, I started writing December 2009. I was 16 years old, and Mike just took me around town and showed me something different. And that's how I learned to be more in tune with my emotions. And and then getting into college, I was at every open mic, and then I opened for Rudy Francisco, Shihan the Poet. I don't know if y'all know them poets. No,
I'm not familiar.
They're world renowned poets. Like if you type in some stuff on like YouTube, like you'll see them on Def Poetry Jam and a whole bunch of different stuff. So,
what is the main message you want people to get out of your music, your art? Like, what is the number one thing about you that you want to portray and share with the world?
The number one thing in my music, I just want people to be more empathetic and understanding of our experiences as humans. So that's what it is in summation. So if you heard like my first project, The Misadventures of Chris Siders, I have different personas or aliases, and one dedicated to the political side of myself, and his name is Chris Justice. And then there's like a sensitive side to myself, Loverboy James, and then like and so on and so forth. So each
Mm-hmm.
alias, there's there's pros and cons to those aliases. So like being a lover boy, like yeah, you sensitive, you're sweet, but then you can be a bit of a pushover, and you can be gullible in trying to cater to whoever you have feelings for, or
You
who's
could be a simp.
you could be a simp. Yeah. So like there's so many different things to that. And that's all part of the human experience, right? And we all
Mm-hmm.
get angry, we all get violent. So like there is a side and there's an alias for that. And I just want to get people more comfortable with just being themselves and being okay with feeling these emotions and feeling these feelings. So
Right, because
I
we all
know.
have like multifacets of ourselves, right?
Mhm.
Like a lot of people tend to not show a certain side to the world because they feel like they're going to get judged. And then they'll start to feel insecure. So they'll just keep that version of themselves behind closed doors. So, I mean, I can understand and I can relate. That was actually a conversation we had. I want to say it was our fifth episode where we talked about code switching,
Mm.
especially in different professional settings where you're around people who depending on if you're trying to get a music deal or like a job or something where they are a colleague in a sense, right? And you're trying to act a certain way so that they can accept this version of you. So,
So, Chris, I know you've been writing since 2009. You've been rapping since I believe you said 2016. Why music? Why not another medium? Why not graffiti or paint or political justice on the streets? Like, why music?
I mean, I done all of that honestly, except graffiti. But I was an activist in college. Uh, yeah, like doing student activism. I was part of the feminism movement as an ally, standing in solidarity with women and women's rights, and getting myself educated on that. And sexual assault awareness, and yeah, so like I've done a bit of activism and activism through my art. I'm also a nude model. I do nude modeling from time to time, and I'm also a fashion model as well. So
okay.
there's different things that I explore to, yeah, not keep myself caged into a box. I actually written 3 books too, and two of them are self published. One of them is with a publisher. I'm working on the fourth book. So when something is not working, when it comes to me fully expressing myself emotionally, I turn to another medium, and that's also part of the whole thing of honoring all sides of selves, because I don't want people to think that you can't do anything. Like again, I never thought I would be a nude model, and I'm doing
I
it.
was going to ask you about that. So, with nude modeling,
Mm-hmm.
where do you model at? Is it just, let's say they're doing like a nude painting and they need somebody to be in the middle? Like, where do you do nude modeling at? Is it online? Is it in person? Like, how do you even get into that? I'm just curious.
So it kind of started off with me trying to unlock a certain part of myself, because I wasn't really confident of how I was looking. I was well over 330 pounds. I'm 187.
Really?
Yeah, like
Wow, you lost a lot of weight. Congratulations.
thank you. I've never been this small my entire life at all. I lost 160 pounds in a year. And so
So what strike that weight loss? Sorry, not to change gears, but like was something that happened was like, all right, let me shed these pounds, or like what was that for you?
it was God, because March 2021, I felt God was telling me to step on the scale, and then I saw I was well over 330 pounds, and then it was time to get to work. And what sparked that conversation with God, months earlier, September 2020, I was in the hospital with COVID, and I actually passed away from COVID, and then I came back, and
Oh my,
yeah, it was a whole experience. I saw pink, white, and blue lights my third day in the hospital. Everything went black, and then I saw those lights, and I don't know how long I was out. And then I came back, and when I came back, I just felt like a needle slowly like drawing out of my neck because they was about to put me on the ventilator, and that would have been it. And so, yeah, and after that experience, I gained so much weight because my oxygen levels was so bad to where I couldn't walk around the house or anything like that. It was so scary just going to sleep. And so I just stayed in the house for months and I gained so much weight. In March, again, 2021 was that time of like, you need to transform. And my friend Denisha actually got me back on in God's graces with spirituality. So
wow, what a story! That alone is inspiring. So
be happy to have you here, brother.
we're so thankful that you're here with us today. You're recording with us today. You have so much stuff to give to the world. Like you said, you're activist. You make music. You're into politics. So yeah, I mean, clearly you're here for a reason. And as far as the nude modeling thing, I think if it does come from a place, like you mentioned, of just getting that, like letting go your insecurities about your body, I think that's the best way to just do something if it truly like helps fulfill something that you're insecure about. So I think that's great.
And the crazy part is, I was going through your Instagram page. You know, first off, we're gonna blast your Instagram. Make sure everybody that's
Yeah,
watching
we're gonna put all your stuff out.
follow him on Instagram. But I was going through your Instagram page, and you had a couple blogs. One, you talked about your anger and how you know disperse your anger through your music, which we touched based on this show. But you also talked about being a workaholic. So I'm hearing you, and you doing this, and you doing that, and you doing this, and you doing that. It sounds like you really are passionate about a lot of things. But how do you take time for Chris? Like, how do you work through that being a workaholic?
that's something that I'm still figuring out. My work addiction, it stemmed from my early days of in my early career as like a spoken word artist, because I was so like, oh, I'm trying to get to it. I'm trying to prove people wrong and get these gigs and everything and perform at every open mic I possibly can. I was really on it. And that came with the activism because I was speaking up a lot about certain things. People wanted me to speak for their organization or get on the news and talk about things. And things kind of just spiraled out of control to where I ended up homeless for like a year or two in my college town. And that was the first sign of like, oh, you have a work addiction. You're not really taking care of yourself. And getting myself out of that situation and moving back home, the work addiction kind of came back even more, and it amplified even further with a really bad breakup I had last December. My father passing away.
Leo.
Huh?
It was that damn Leo, right?
No, it was the Aries.
It's a Sagittarius. Aries.
I'm a Leo now.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the breakup in December, my father passing away, and my cousin passing away, in like a month later, things wasn't. That just amplified even more, and I started to do things that was out of the ordinary, which was drinking. I don't drink and I don't smoke. I still haven't smoked to this day, thank God. But I had like a couple drinks. I kind of fell into lust a little bit and started having sex a lot more. I chilled out from that. But I always like told myself, when I do these certain things, I'm no longer Chris. If someone sees a glass of alcohol in my hand, like, and I'm next to a friend, I tell that friend like, hey, yo, just take that away from me or slap that out of my hand. Because that's no longer Chris speaking. So I honestly don't have a good answer on how to take care of myself. I'm still trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
And I think that's the beautiful thing actually is we are unfinished products. And so many people they come into our lives and they expect us to be these finished beings and we're not. We all got room for improvement. I have this analogy that I tell people every time at work. And I ask them, I'm like, have you ever gotten 100% on every single test that you've ever taken? Not one person has ever said yes, right? In order to get an A, you have from 90 to 100%, 80 to 90% to get a B, 70 to 79% to get a C. And those are still passing grades. Like, we got to stop living life as if we not passing because we're not getting 100%. It's okay. Like, we have room for growth. We have room for error. And, it's actually better that you tell me, like, listen, I'm not whole right now. It's so much of me that I want to improve. We see the improvement. We seen the weight loss. We seen the transition in your music. We see the people that's hearing what you got to say. Me and Dana don't know you from a can of paint, and you just moving us, in all honesty.
Yeah.
So we appreciate shit like that because that's why we do this show. We want to hear these kind of stories because you've inspired me in an hour of talking. So, big shout out to you. Kudos to you for that. And we all got room to dial it back a little bit too, but at the same time we chasing greatness, and you definitely on the right path, brother.
I do want to just get into something, Aaron, how you mentioned, we're all still a work in progress. No one is perfect. I think the underlining message that I took from that, though, especially in Chris's case, is he's constantly working on himself. Like, he's constantly trying to, if it's not put out his music, it's like, okay, let me work on this project that I'm passionate about. All right, let me put a little bit of myself in something else. So I do feel like it is the perseverance and the determination to just share what you want to share your passions and stuff, and you want to continue to move forward. I do think some people do get stuck in their challenges and their struggles, and they can't move past that. So that's also why some people, their vision is just like, all right, this is what I'm dealing with. They get stuck into that victim mentality. And the only reason why I'm saying this is because I know people personally who are like that. And it's really sad to see when they have so much potential and so many great things to share based off like knowing them for a long time. But especially since we're getting into like the 30s, into the early 40s, we're getting up there in age. Like, no one is in college anymore, or high school. Like, we're now transitioning into our adulthood selves. So just to see like certain friends and family just get trapped in that psychological, because that's really what it is. It's like psychologically, they cannot move to the next step in their life because they're so stuck on like this one phase in their lives of when things got hard. But it's like, well, how do I get myself out of it? And it does take you praying, right? Prayer is a thing that people don't necessarily do that often, but it does go a long way. It's also just reaching out to people who are close to you who can potentially help you as well. But it does always come down to the person wanting to do the work. So I feel like that's just a key thing that a lot of people are struggling with. And it's just nice to see, Chris, for you, you took your circumstances and you're making positive things come from it.
Thank you. And like, I think the issue is, a part of that is that people are afraid to fall on their face. Like, you're gonna fall on your face regardless. And I had several conversations with my friends about this very thing. Like, you're gonna make mistakes. You're gonna piss people off. Like, for example, like right now, like the young woman that I'm with right now, and her being halfway across the world, we're polyamorous. We're in a polyamorous relationship, and I don't have that much experience in that field, and I have tried it over the summer. Different things haven't worked out, but with this young woman, I feel very confident and safe to explore that. But there's gonna be times where we talked about we're gonna piss each other off. That's just inevitable, and that can happen in monogamous relationships. So that's a clear example of like, all right, I'm gonna try this thing. I might fall on my face, but like we're trying.
Mm-hmm.
Like that.
You're trying for each other because is that something she wants or something you want?
We both want it.
You both want it. Okay.
We both want it.
Chris, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
How long have y'all been together, if you don't mind me asking?
Oh, this is new. This is brand new.
Okay. Have y'all experienced conflict yet?
No.
Okay. I ask you that because I feel like that is when relationships get real, right?
Yes.
Because everything is hunky dory, pieces and cream, honeymoon. But when that conflict drop and you really gotta test the rubber that meets the road, tell me how you want to overcome that to make sure that you further establish this relationship with somebody that you clearly value, somebody that you're making strides to be with all the way across the world. That's some admirable shit. So like, it's going to happen, right? Conflict is going to happen. What are you going to do when that conflict arises?
So for one of the main pillars that we talked about is communication. Communication. Like whatever you're feeling, like don't let that fester. Share what's on your mind, even if you feel that you're gonna piss me off or if I'm gonna piss you off, like just say it. And I think that's what failed a lot of my previous relationships and dating experiences. It was it's a two-way street, right? I can't sit here and blame the other person and say, well, you didn't do this. There were certain things that I could have done better on communication. And that leads to the second thing, accountability. People hate taking accountability for for potentially doing something wrong or not catering to a love language. We all have different ways of how we like to be loved. For example, I like quality time. Like if I could sit again, like I love having conversations. And when you're there, like that's how you showing me that you're there, by talking to me. Others might be gifts. Like you may not want to talk to me all the time, but you want like some flowers or something like that. And that could cause friction because I may not have the money to give you a gift all the time. Or you may not have the time to like give me quality time. So
is that something that you guys are struggling with right now, or that's just like a hypothetical situation?
That was a struggle in previous relationships and dating experiences. With right now, me and her, we're great. We watched Get Out yesterday for Halloween.
She's from Zurich, so was that an awkward experience? So it's
yeah, I know. I knew that was the question that was going to come. But no.
Danny, you get the joke?
I know what you're talking about.
Okay, I was amazing. Yeah,
I know.
Could be. It's black people in Switzerland.
No, there's definitely black people in Switzerland. Switzerland is actually really diverse.
I want to visit Switzerland. It looks beautiful in pictures. I want to go to the
Alps. That's where I want to go.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, very diverse, really beautiful. We had this we have a lot of conversations about politics, about me being a black man, her being a woman, and just being in two different worlds with our identities and intersectionalities. And again, that's another conversation that we always fail to have as humans. Intersectionality.
A lot of people think intersectionality is actually a negative conversation because they feel like we over intersection.
Well, let's talk about it. Let's break it down real quick. We got a couple minutes. So, Chris, what are your ideals with the topic? Like, how do you feel about it?
So, my thing with intersectionality is that I feel that we just need to acknowledge how these different systems of oppression are affecting us due to our identities. So, for example, how a black trans person would experience life isn't the same as how a black man would experience life. There are two different systems of oppression that's at play. You got homophobia, you got transphobia, and then you have people that hate black people. And then as a man, you get the whole thing of like being hypersexualized and like people thinking that, oh, you're just aggressive all the time because you're a black man. And so there's two different systems of oppression that's at play. And when we acknowledge that, then I feel that we could cultivate a better environment and coexist better and to have these conversations. But as of right now, people are really afraid to have these conversations because they don't know, or at least not
I
trying to
think
figure it out.
we're just in an age where, we're just in an age where like any opinion, like you're voicing your opinion on any group of people who are dealing with oppression, there's always like a negative connotation, or it's like, oh, you are completely against this kind of person, when that's usually not the case. Like it's actually just, people voicing their opinions on how they feel about this group's their oppression. So I just feel like it's just everyone is walking on eggshells. That's what it feels like. Where like everyone is getting offended by every little thing. And it's like, how do you open up the conversation if that's the audience that you're dealing with?
I think it's a lot of people that accept tolerance over acceptance, right? So it's like, I'll tolerate a homosexual person or integration in public schools, but deep down, they don't really accept it.
Right.
It's like, yeah, I got a gay cousin, but that's my gay cousin. It is what it is.
Because we're related. It's my cousin. Yeah.
People don't actually accept it. I was actually at a work meeting last week, and the LGBTQIA plus came on the screen. So they made a joke about it, like, oh, what's the I and the A stand for? So I Googled it because I
hate these kind of comments. Right? That's very like passive aggressive.
And I didn't know it, but I'm like, oh, it's asexual and intersexual, right? So they're like, that's one thing I just can't do. My Bible says this. And I'm like, listen, I'm not going to tell you how to feel. But at the same time, it is people that feel that way. So the least we can do is understand them. The least we can do is give people grace. You don't have to necessarily like say, okay, I'm going to be this also. No one's asking you for that. People just kind of want to live. Just like me as a black man, I want to live to the point where I'm a human being, where I can operate through this world as a human being. Now, I'm going to get a little political real quick. And I'm going to talk about Israel and I'm going to talk about Palestine, right? Because we both recognize that Jewish people and Palestinians have experienced oppression. But it's crazy how you can walk into a land and further oppress people post-oppression. Like, at some point, you got to have a look in the mirror to say, this ain't right. Now, understand that, as a Jewish person, this is the land that you feel is obligated to your people based on the covenants of the Torah, right? But at the same time, as a Palestinian, I've been living here my whole life. So it's like, at some point, we just got to recognize, like, if I love human beings for human beings, let's come to an amicable understanding. But we don't like that.
Yeah, I mean, that would be the simple version. But I do feel like because their level of conflict has been going on for almost a century, there's a lot more nuances that we don't necessarily know, because I don't personally know anyone directly in these cultures. Mm-hmm. So I can't have an opinion of like what should be and what shouldn't be. But, like having just an overall love of humans, that would be ideal and be like the perfect situation. But as we know, with politics and different governing systems, like it's never perfect if there are humans running things, which is why they're trying to get AI to come in to political powers, which I feel like is even more crazy, because the people who are programming, because AI has to be programmed, right? Mm-hmm. But whose perspective is it being programmed from? And where is it pulling? Because the thing with AI, artificial intelligence, is it learns your behaviors. It learns how to make things easier for things to function for you. So my thing is like, well, where are they pulling these statistics from? Is it from this political party's point of view or the other one? So it's crazy, but that honestly is going to be what our future looks like. which is scary.
In regards to the conflict, I'm just like you. I feel that I have no right to comment on how things should be done or anything of that. But when babies are getting killed, women are getting killed, ceasefire. Like
You would think, right?
Yeah, ceasefire. That's I'm pro babies and women and the genocide. No, like I'm not pro genocide, not pro babies getting killed, and not pro women getting killed. That's horrendous. That's horrific.
Very horrific. It's terrible. But we want to end this on a lighter note. So we are almost at the end here. We do want you to be on time for your gig tonight because you are up and coming superstar. So the way we end our podcast is with our happy hour moment. And it is basically us expressing things that we are proud that we've accomplished or things that are about to happen and come to fruition. So for you, Chris, do you have a happy hour moment you want to share with us?
Honestly, despite everything that occurred this year, a lot of great things happened. Like just going internationally. Like that's
huge.
That's huge.
Yeah.
My family never been outside of the country. My pops always told me stories about people never leaving the block and just on a milk crate. They don't know what the world looks like beyond South Central Los Angeles, beyond a block. So just being able to say, again, rap took me out of the country, that is huge. That's something that I keep with me all the time, and just being able to share my gifts and share everything God has given to me. So I'm grateful for that. And that's what's keeping me going and makes me happy every day.
Amazing. Kudos to you. All great things. Aaron, what is your happy hour moment if you have one?
Grateful. Obviously, we're grateful for your presence on this podcast, Chris. It's also November. Shout out to November, the best month of the year. I don't know if y'all know this or not, but I'll be turning 30 this year for the 5th time. So I'm just really, really happy that November is here. I'm really happy that the best holiday of all time is coming up.
Why don't you accept your age?
I do accept my age.
You're not 30 for the 5th time. That's not a thing.
Okay. Accept me for who I am. Okay. I'll be 30 for the 5th time. All right. And like I said, this month is all about thanks and gratefulness. So I'm going to make sure that I live in that gratitude. I'm actually continuing to write my book. I'm at chapter 9 right now. I actually spoke to Tiffany the other day, and I just needed some advice. So, and I'm a shout her out for this because it really helped me because I was struggling mentally. I just need somebody to just help me figure out how I'm going to win today. And she said, well, why do you need help? You wrote the book on it. And the crazy part is the name of my book is Win the Day. So, shout out to her for just keeping that in her mind and remembering and pushing me through. And we winning. We're not just winning today. We winning tomorrow. We're going to keep that momentum going into 2024, especially for the Outside After Work podcast.
Hey, my happy hour moment, I want to say I finally have the plans for my 30th birthday. I turned 30 in March of next year.
Is it your real 30th birthday?
It's my real 30th birthday. I'm not going to lie about it. When I turned 31, too. So, yeah.
31?
Yeah, when I turned 31, I'm not going to say I'm 30 for the second time. So I turned 31 time, which is next year. And I finalized all the plans, which I'm super excited for. I'm going to just send out the invitations to everyone, probably the middle of November. But I'm just really happy because I've been stressing about it for the past 2 months. So yeah, I'm excited about that. And what else? I am going to see family back in Arizona for Thanksgiving. So I'm going to take that 4-hour flight over there to the West Coast.
Ain't that bad. West Coast, the best coast.
Yeah, okay. Only because it's personal here.
New Jersey.
Yeah.
Man,
No, we on the West
Hey,
Coast.
time out. Hold on, Chris. Before you do it, the last rapper to talk trash about New Jersey, he can't come back. Chief Keef can't come back to Jersey. So, we love y'all out there.
don't give a damn. Y'all got Joe Budden. Stop.
First
God.
off,
We
Joe
don't
Budden
claim
is in the podcast space.
Y'all don't claim Joe Budden?
I'll claim Joe
We don't
Budden. He's from
claim
Jersey
him.
City.
Okay.
I gotta say that's
Anyway.
crazy.
Yes. All right, guys. Well, we need to wrap this up. It's getting late. So, Chris, thank you for joining our We Outside podcast episode. This was fun. We learned a lot, and we can't wait to see all the great things you have to come.
And if anybody else wants to join this wonderful seat, make sure you hit up woawpod@gmail.com so you can not only join us, you can chime in with some questions, comments, even some concerns about Dana's questions, because mine be awesome. But with that being said, y'all, we outside and we out.
We out.
West Coast is the best coast. Stop all that. That's right.